Good morning, everybody. My name is Beth Shields, and I am super appreciative to have all of you guys join me again today. Today, I am speaking with Travis. He is my own photographer from Media Pro Photos. He does all of the photography on my properties and does the drone. And I can't speak highly enough about his photography and what he does and provides for us. So I'm super honored and excited to have Travis on with me today. The way that I met Travis is actually funny. I had an investment property that was pretty rough. It was an older woman's home, had a lot of neglect and deferred maintenance in it. And Travis came with another agent, made an offer on the home, and made the transaction super easy and super smooth. And I didn't know that Travis was a photographer until I went to go pick up my lockbox. And Travis just introduced himself to me and gave me his business card. And from there, I used him for one of my first transactions. And I will just say that Travis's ability to be able to help in difficult sales situations was super important and super helpful. I had a listing and my seller was very overwhelmed at the time, and her home was not quite ready by many people's standards, but we did need to sell the property. And Travis worked with my seller to be able to get that home, like the photography ready, and just his gentleness and kindness in working with my seller was super appreciative and made this situation a lot less stressful, which, as we know, as real estate agents, is super, super important. So after that interaction was really when I made the decision that Travis was going to become my full-time photographer. My own company has their photographers that they prefer we use, and we get discounts to use them. However, I have really found that sometimes paying a little bit more for somebody who is very empathetic and caring in situations that it's necessary can just help an entire situation flow a lot better. And on that note, Travis, I did just get that home closed last week, and she moved into her new home with her kids. So we're very excited. And I will tell you, I think, Travis, did you go out there 2 or 3 times for photography? I don't
I think
remember.
just twice. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I need more pictures. I need more pictures. But he did amazing. So from here, Travis, I am going to go ahead and turn over control to you and let you go ahead and do a presentation, and then we'll have some questions for you.
Thank you so very much, Beth. Those kind words, it's hard not to get emotional. I really appreciate it. I love what I do, and I'm just so thankful that you see that side of it because that's the type of service that I want to be able to offer everyone. Because it really
Absolutely.
makes a big difference. We're in the relationship business, and you never know someone's circumstance.
Absolutely. And the interesting thing is that we're in the relationship business, even photography, even we're talking the title reps, the inspectors. And I think those relationships are the most important thing.
Absolutely. I think, and too, it's like really a good practice as a vendor to view yourself as an extension of each individual agent. And it's really helpful when you do develop relationships with your clients and then agents and be able to trust that the vendors going in are going to treat them very well. So thank you for those kind words. I greatly appreciate it. Are you able to see my
Absolutely.
screen okay?
Yep, we're good.
Outstanding. So again, my name is Travis. I'm with Media Pro Photos based here in Longmont, Colorado. And today I want to talk about how quality photos can drive buyer interest and boost your sales. And I have a handful of slides here, including some statistics on photography and media. But again, I'm based here in Longmont, Colorado. I originally grew up in Minnesota, but I've lived in Colorado for almost 7 years and absolutely love it. Never want to leave. So glad I have some ties here. But I studied marketing and sales at North Dakota State University in Fargo. Very fun place to live. Wouldn't want to go back, but absolutely loved it there. It's just too cold.
Yeah,
But
no kidding.
yeah, my business serves the Front Range from Fort Collins down to Colorado Springs. I am currently a one-man operation, but have plans to expand once I find the right team members who embody, what my company is all about. But I care about professional equipment and using techniques to elevate listings. I am constantly staying on trend with what's new in real estate. My business is 100% real estate focused. I don't do any work outside of it, which allows me to stay very competitive and really hone in my skills and has gotten me to where I am today. And I just love the work. And I think it really shows when the photos and media come across.
Absolutely, it does.
Yeah, thank you, Beth, so much. And then two, I offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee on anything. I have never had anyone who wasn't happy. Occasionally, it'll be like, could you go back and grab a photo of something that we didn't talk about? And that's totally fine. That's something I like to try to be upfront about is if you ever have any questions or need anything, just reach out. I'm absolutely going to get you what you need for your listing. Two, and then, so what I want to talk about today is the importance of media and specifically professional media. And at the very end, I have a very specific example of a shoot that I've done versus a home in the same property who had good media and then one that had no professional media. And there's a very clear difference. But some statistics here. So properties with high quality photos receive 61% more views online and sell 32% faster and close for an average of almost $1,000 up to $116,000 higher than that same property if it had low quality photos. So when you
Wow.
talk about investing a little bit more in something, this is one of those areas that can really pay dividends back to you because the more eyeballs we get on a property, the more likely that we're going to sell it for a faster turnaround and a higher rate. So the question I have is, what media do you need for your next listing? I know there may be a wide range of experience on this call. So if you're new to media, you may not know that there's actually 7 main areas of media that can market your listing. And this is not totally inclusive of everything out there, but the main buckets are your photography, which is every listing needs photography. Very rarely do you not. You have aerial photography, or otherwise known as drone photography. You have videography, property videos, highlight tours, photo reels. There's a lot of variation within videography. And then you have twilight photos, which are typically taken at nighttime. It adds a very unique, colorful perspective of the home. And then you have 3D tours, which could be a Zillow 3D tour or Matterport 3D tour. And then virtual staging for any vacant listing and floor plans. And I'm going to just talk through each one individually very quickly. So, stat about photography. So, 99% of buyers use the internet for their home search. Kind of a no-brainer, but it's helpful to understand. And then
Yeah.
homes with professional photos sell 68% faster than those without. And listings with 20 or more photos spend 32 days less on the market. Is that something in the industry, Beth?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It is quite alarming. Like the home that you ended up purchasing, Travis, I think that many agents would have been very content to just walk through there and snap some photos with their iPhone, and it needed a lot of work. Truthfully, like the home needed a lot and a lot of investing into it. But to me, I know that it is important that professional photography is done every single time on a home. And the only time I have not done professional photography has been 2 times in my real estate career. And both of those were at the request of the sellers. And it was for personal reasons that they did not want the home photographed. One was they had tenants in the home and the tenants refused. The other one, it was their spouse had passed and they did not want those pictures spread out. But other than that, we use them for everything. And I will tell you, the photos of iPhone, I don't care how good you are with your phone, it's terrible. Those photos are.
Yeah, it's never going to be as good as a professional wide angle camera. It's
Absolutely.
just impossible to compete with that. But thank you. I appreciate that. So photography, obviously every listing needs it. Aerial photography is a tool that you can have in your toolkit for homes who have, in this instance, you can see a very clear difference between the photo on the left and the photo on the right. The photo on the left is about as good a perspective as you could capture of this home from the ground, but just getting 15 feet up in the air creates a whole different perspective, and in my opinion, allows this home to look the way that it feels. It is a very premium home, and it should have a photo that matches that.
Absolutely.
So aerial photography can increase your sales price up to 10%. Which is pretty shocking. I think anytime that the home is 3 stories or higher, I always recommend it, specifically to get a photo like this. In a neighborhood like this would be impossible from the ground. And then two, if you ever have key landmarks within the vicinity, aerial photography is a great addition and is very affordable compared to what most people think.
Yeah.
And then videography, 73% of homeowners are looking for an agent who uses video marketing when selling their home. And then listings with video receive up to 403% more inquiries. This is a pretty impactful investment, and it's not directly tied to selling that listing. A lot when the seller of the home is looking for an agent who uses video, and there are several pitches who come in and they're not, you may win that listing just because you invested an extra $150 or $200 in using video on your listings. This is definitely not something that I would recommend for every listing, but when you do have a higher end property, it could help you win that listing, and it's well worth the investment if that's the case.
Absolutely.
And twilight photos. Properties with twilight photos can get up to 3 times more showings and up to a 8% higher click-through rate on your listing. There was a study done by HomeJab where they tracked users' engagement. So basically they did an eye tracker, and on the screen they had 1 or 2 twilight photos, and every time they immediately gravitated to that bright twilight photo, because if you put the photo on the left in a sea of iPhone photos, it is like so clearly professional and beautiful, and people want to click on that listing.
Yep.
But
Yep.
again, not for every home, but a great tool for a higher end listing to help grab additional engagement. And then 3D tours. This is one I get a lot of questions about because there are 2 really big companies who offer hosting of 3D tours, and there's a very big difference. So Zillow 3D tours are a more basic option. And then you have Matterport 3D tours, which are a very premium option. And it's what people call the dollhouse view. If you
Mhm.
haven't checked out a Matterport 3D tour on their website, they have just ones you can walk through, and they are stunning. And the way that it's captured is with a special equipment, a special camera, and it allows your viewer to do a real-time tour through the home without having to physically be in that state or in that city. It is a really cool way to increase engagement and reach prospective buyers anywhere 24/7. And then statistic about virtual tours is they reduce the listing time on market by up to 31% and sell for an increase of up to 9%.
Yeah.
And it's
It's pretty amazing how 3D tours can really impact a house, especially when it's very large. It can really help people to be able to visualize what the home actually feels like and looks like.
couldn't agree more. I love doing them, and when I'm looking at listings, it's one of the first things I check to see if they have, because
Yeah.
Photos can be worth 1,000 words, and a 3D tour is something that everyone sees the same thing. It's pretty cool. So in the right situation, it can be very beneficial. And then virtual staging. So the photos on the left are the exact same photos on the right, giving you a real-time depiction of how impactful virtual staging can be. And vacant listings that feature virtual staging can sell up to 75% faster than if they'd left it without the staging. And this is a very inexpensive way, especially compared to actual staging.
Yeah.
It's an average of anywhere from probably $20 per photo to do a virtual staging versus the large cost of doing an actual stage.
Yeah. And I can just speak to the professionalism of how this virtual staging looks versus there are some of these virtual staging companies where you buy, I'm not exactly sure what it is, but really, I only recommend one online company that I have personally used for virtual staging because some of the other companies, it is comical, the stuff that they use or just how horrific a house looks that I'm like, you'd be better off leaving it vacant.
That is a very fair comment. It does matter immensely.
Yes,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah. I have seen some pretty bad ones myself too.
Yeah, I should do a like YouTube, Facebook post about them because man, I tell you, some of them I'm like, why is the bed like the entire size of the whole bedroom? It just, yeah, it's a pretty interesting comparison to see them side by side.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something I invested a lot of time in finding a contractor who can do amazing work because it really does matter and it just has a huge impact.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I use an online company and I've been very satisfied with their virtual staging. They helped me sell a home that was in my neighborhood that had some pretty rough kind of deferred maintenance. And using that virtual staging, I feel like really helped people to see past the vacant home. And one of the tips that I like to give agents is when we virtually stage, sometimes it can be a shock for people when they come into the home and the home is empty. So what I like to encourage agents to do is when you virtually stage is use like the before and after so that people can see this is what it looks like and then I have it virtually staged. And it really just helps potential buyers to not be let down when they walk in the home and they know what to expect because there's nothing worse than walking into what you are hoping is going to be the photography pictures on the right and what you walk into are the ones on the left and you're let down. I just really encourage all of my agents to do the picture one and then picture two and put them side by side in the MLS that way.
That is a great tip. Great tip. Because expectations make a huge difference when it comes to
Absolutely.
how they're feeling through the home.
Yep.
I love that. Floor plans, there are standard and premium options available. There's a few companies that are pretty new doing this photo on the right, but floor plans help prospective buyers understand the flow of the home, and 93% of buyers refer to listings or prefer listings with a floor plan.
Yeah.
For me, that should be 100%. It gives your buyer a 100% clear understanding of how this home flows together, and they don't have to interpret through the photographs how the rooms intersect with each other.
Yep.
So I offer this standard for free with every photography that I offer because it really is that important. And then the upgradable premium options, I think, are a very cool option for a very high-end listing. They actually stage it with the furniture that's in the home, or it can be almost virtually staged. It is something new to the industry that's just getting implemented. And I'd be curious, Beth, to see if you've used the premium ones before or if you've seen them kind of cycling through
I have
the market.
seen them. If I'm being honest, I see them mostly on new construction.
Okay.
Versus, just traditional listings. The one on the left, we see, I mean, I would say the majority, like I'd say at least 50% of listings have the floor plan layout. And until I met you and started having you do photography, I have an app that I'm always happy to share, where I would just walk the home for the floor plan, and
Mhm.
it was something that it was just an added benefit. I am curious, Travis, on your floor plans that are standard, do they do the measurements, or do they not have measurements in them?
Great question. But yeah, I won't gatekeep it all. So I use an app called Cuba Casa.
Oh yeah, that's the exact one I use as well.
Yeah, so it's good, it's not perfect. So it
Exactly.
does a great job creating the virtual floor plan.
Hmm.
I have found that their measurements are not 100%.
Yeah.
They claim it's 97%, but it can be like pretty far off. So I do include two options. You'll have an option that has a floor plan with measurements, and then that same one, like this photo here, that has the measurements taken off.
Yep.
That way you could utilize it in the
Yeah.
event you wanted it with the measurements, but just knowing it's going to be slightly off.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. And then I've noticed the ones coming from you, like the measurement difference will be slightly different. And again, I always coach my agents, make sure you're using. So when Travis sends me over the photos with the floor plans, I make sure to take out the square footage totals, because obviously we want to be using the numbers either from an appraisal report or from property records, however you decide that you're giving that square footage out. But that's what I do is I'll just take your floor plan, I'll crop out the where the floor plan measurement is. And then of course I just tell people to confirm with their own measurements and stuff. But yeah, those floor plans I feel like have been tremendously, like they're starting to grow, and I feel like they're tremendously helpful. But I would say the one on the right, the upgraded one, the ones that I usually see those on are new builds, new construction homes. And I actually am thinking of three different builders that all use those exact models. And I do find that it's very helpful for people to be able to visualize really what that home looks like versus sometimes Matterport, even though you can walk through it, having your floor plan laid out for you really is beneficial versus the Matterport kind of just takes you through the home.
I completely agree. Yeah, I think in a specific situation, each one works great, but
Yeah.
definitely not for every listing.
Yeah.
Completely agree. And that was a great call out. I wanted to mention that regarding the floor plan square footage. Always refer to the standard in the industry. Do not trust an app to give
No,
you this.
we're just
Um,
asking for a lawsuit if we do that. So
yes, yes. And that is so I bet I've implemented that since you and I have done a listing because it was feedback I've confirmed recently. So now every listing I do will get with dimensions and without, so you don't have
awesome.
to crop that out anymore.
Awesome.
Cool. So here's a live example of a condo complex that I photographed about a month ago. And on the left is a listing, same layout, same square footage, but was taken with an iPhone. They have no photos, no video, or sorry, they have no professional photos, no video, no floor plan, just iPhone photos. And they've been on the market not very long, but they've received views and have zero saves.
Mhm.
And I'm just using saves as a representation of engagement because we are looking for engagement. And in the center here, it is a better listing who did have professional photos and they have a floor plan, or excuse me, they have a 3D tour, but they did not include a floor plan. They did not include video. And in my opinion, the photos are not representing the property to its best. And then the photo on the right was the listing that I photographed, and it was on the market for half the amount of time as the one in the middle, and it already has a higher view rate and a higher save rate. And I've spoken with the agent, and they have gotten a lot of showings compared to the market average, which is what we want as agents.
Absolutely.
And that listing did receive a full package, including a 3D tour, floor plan, and a video. But this is what I would want for every agent that I work with is to be outpacing the competition, especially in a situation where you have multiple listings in the same condo complex. It can have a big impact when you're comparing an agent that happened to use an iPhone photo, you're probably going to get a higher walkthrough rate, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. Yeah,
It's a great representation of how you can sell for a higher amount and faster.
yeah.
So I'm excited to follow up with this agent and understand if this property sold, where we're at with it compared to these other ones. But yeah, thought that would be kind of a cool real-time example. There are so many factors. Obviously, everyone on this call knows this that go into selling a home. So if you can go into this sales process knowing you're going to have the best media available, that's just one factor you can take out of the equation and focus on the other elements of the sales cycle that help you get that property.
And I think our job as agents, when we talk about photography, we're not talking thousands and thousands of dollars, right? And I look at just the difference here, and it to me speaks about my professionalism in hiring the better quality, higher end photography, which ultimately will hopefully bring a better offer and a higher priced offer than the one at 225 or 200. And to me, I just think this speaks about the professionalism as an agent and what we as agents bring to the table. And that's what will bring us more business and more referrals. Imagine the opportunity set in front of you of being able to tell your sellers, telling somebody, hey, yeah, my agent like got me 250 and the other two units in the complex were priced at 200 and 225 and they're still on the market. Just that ability, I feel like, is going to bring you more business. And of course, your seller is going to be excited and super satisfied. To me, I feel like we're not talking about $5,000 of photography. And truthfully, we're not even talking about $1,000 of photography. And so in my head, it's a no-brainer.
I'm glad that you feel that way. That is a big part of why you're so successful, Beth, is your mentality, because it is so critical in this industry
Yep.
to have professional media along with all of the other skill sets that every agent brings to the table. It's just a tool in your tool belt. And whether it's me that you're using or another photographer, I want to make sure everyone on this call knows that you should be asking for a high quality because these are my prices. They're slightly higher than a lot of the budget options that are in the market, but you will see the difference for sure.
Absolutely, you will.
And then two, I wanted to offer something. So this is my flyer with the 7 different options. Every company out there offers different tailored packages. For me, probably the most common that I sell are the pro packages for a higher end listing. It gives you all of those tools that fit that need in a discounted option for your listing. But a lot of agents do like a base package with 20 photos, 5 aerials, floor plan, and then you do get a website, marketing, and next day delivery on everything, which has become pretty standard in the industry.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my spiel. I love working in real estate. I love working with agents. I love doing photography and videography. So I just feel so grateful for the opportunity to showcase some statistics. Hopefully, some people took some stuff away from that. And I just wanted to say thank you, Beth, for the opportunity. And I do have this slide for questions,
Awesome.
which we can go through.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, perfect. So is Media Pro Photos insured? Absolutely. I'm fully insured. It is very important that you do ask, if you're not using me as a photographer, make sure you ask them to show you their proof of insurance, or just if you trust them, ask them if they're insured. Because I worked, or when I started in the industry, I worked for a budget company and they did not require us to prove that we were insured. So you may have a photographer in your listing if you're using one of those online budget options that isn't insured. And if they slip and fall or break something, you may be liable. So just follow up with them and make sure that they are insured.
And I
And
think
then,
we as agents, it's super important that if we're bringing in the photographers, we have to protect ourselves. And if we're hiring a photographer, they're there under our direction. And so it is super important that we as agents make sure that our photographers are insured and that they have the proper insurance so that I truthfully have never had a photographer break anything or fall, but all it takes is one opportunity or one situation, and all of a sudden everybody's getting sued in a situation. Just the biggest thing I'm going to tell people is make sure that your photographer is fully insured so that you do not put your license and yourself at risk.
Yeah, I thought that was a great question because I have seen the other side of it, Beth, and there are a lot of, again, these budget companies that do a lot of listings for a low amount, and their photographers are not required to have it. Or they say they're required, but they don't actually check to see if they have it. So great call out. And then two, how far in advance do agents need a book? For me, I like to have at least 24 hours notice, but it could some instances, if I have availability, call me that same day, and if I'm around and available, I will make it happen for you.
He has done that for me. I will say that.
Yeah, I'm in the service business, customer service. My goal is always to make sure that the agent and the homeowner get me in and out of there in the timeline that they require, which you just need to be flexible.
Yeah.
But 7 days would be ideal if you want to make sure you get a guaranteed time slot. But again, 24 hours notice. And then how are photos delivered? So the platform that I use is called Spiro. They're exceptional. So your photos will be hosted online for a full year at no additional cost. And then you'll get an email which will send you links to, you'll get a branded website which will host all the images, floor plans, videos, etc., which you can edit as well. And then you'll get a branded one that you can add some of your marketing to, and you can drop those links into your MLS or social media, which can drive traffic to your website. And that's all at no additional cost. Beth, I would love to get your feedback from your experience on if that system is turnkey.
I have found your system, honestly, I have worked with other photographers where I'm meeting a deadline and I'm trying to get, and it's ironic, but like somebody will be like, hey, I need to sell my house, and they'll call me up. I'll get a photographer in there. Then we're all the way up to a deadline of needing to get the photography uploaded, get in the MLS and get it active. And I cannot tell you how incredibly frustrating it is trying to get a hold of a photographer because the photos they sent me were the wrong, and I don't know enough to know about it, but they're too large for me to be able to
Mhm.
use in my MLS. And
Yep.
and then the stress of our schedules as agents is very where I'll only have a certain amount of time, and if I can't get a hold of the agent or the photographer to be able to adjust those photos or make them the correct size, then it just creates a very stressful situation. And I have never once had an issue being able to download your photos, Travis. They download very easily. Then I can upload them super easy. And it just makes my life so much easier. The marketing material that you give me, my admin and marketing person just hops in there and pulls photos direct from it so that we can use those for flyers and brochures and advertising. So the platform that you use to deliver your product has been seamless for us. We've really enjoyed it.
I love to hear that. That is so exciting. That was my initial impression. I interviewed several different companies and spoke with them before I committed to that platform. And that's so great to hear because that's exactly what I was hoping your experience was like. Awesome. And then the next question, can you provide virtual tours and 3D walkthroughs? Yes, absolutely. And that's another watch out. If you do use a budget company, they probably don't have the highest, because I use a very expensive 3D camera. So the resolution on my 3D tours is there's only one level higher, and that camera is $15,000.
Oh my gosh.
Um, and that's just not something you need for real estate. But a lot of times, if you are using a budget option, they probably aren't using the highest resolution. You're still getting a great 3D tour, but
Yeah.
yes, do 3D tours, love them. If you have a question about it, please reach out.
Yeah.
Too. So what are the top 5 things people should do to prepare for photography in their home? Great question. I appreciate this one, Beth, because it's one I get a lot. So declutter, clean surfaces, and remove personal items. Ensure the house is as clean as possible. There's going to be certain instances where it's not 100% spotless. That's okay. There are some things that I can do creatively to fix that, or we can take a little bit of time at the beginning of the shoot and sweep a room if we have to. But ensure the home is spotless would be ideal. And then lighting, open blinds and replace light bulbs when possible. And then staging, arrange furniture to showcase the space in its best ability. And then curb appeal, tidy up the yard and exterior. It's oftentimes I walk into a situation where maybe one of these is not done or all 5 of them aren't done. And if you believe it or not, there's a lot of things that your photographer can do to help a situation that does not fit this criteria.
Yeah.
So your photographer can help you out in a lot of ways in a listing situation where this home is not perfect. And I just hope that you have a photographer who's able to do that for you because it's something that's learned over time.
Yeah, I think that's what we touched on is the relationship portion is we are invited into people's inner areas, their homes or their inner area. And one of the things that's really stood out about you to me is your compassion and empathy and understanding for people in their situations. And I think it's a super important thing that we as agents need to make sure that we're sensitive to who we're bringing into homes. Not every home is just the cookie cutter, we're getting ready to sell our house and we want to upsize or downsize. Frequently, we're running into divorce situations, deaths of spouses, deaths of children, and making sure that you have somebody who is sensitive to those situations and compassionate and understanding is imperative because frequently we as agents, we aren't there. And you, Travis, are an extension of me to my clients when you're there. And that's why, truthfully, I do pay you versus paying who my brokerage uses, because I do feel like you have an empathy and understanding for people's situations and can really support them through those things of being brought into an area that could be a little bit more sensitive or difficult for them. So,
Thank you, Beth. Yeah, I will attest to that statement. I've done a lot of shoots where the homeowner is almost incapable of even getting out of bed. And it's
yeah,
such a sad situation to walk into, but to be able to help them in the way that I can by helping get their house ready to be sold, it's just a rewarding feeling that I love to receive because
absolutely.
it's fun. Okay, so do you have any other questions?
I'm trying to think. I gave you these questions and you like answered
Yes,
all of them amazingly.
they were great questions.
I don't really have any other ones that I don't feel like you covered today. I feel like everything that you presented just really showcases who you are and what your business represents. And to summarize, how can people find you, Travis, and how can they get in touch with you?
Thank you for the question. So I am at mediaprophotos.com. And then I actually wanted to extend a special offer for your coaching team here, Beth. And I would like to extend a $200 promotional credit and a free Zillow 3D tour. If you'd like to give me a try and you're in the Colorado Front Range, send me a text at 720-663-8704, and I'll send you the link to sign up on my website, and we'll send you the promotional credit, which you could use on your next listing.
That's
And
fantastic.
would love
That's
to get in
huge.
touch. But yeah, you can check out my media gallery as well. So it's just mediaprophotos.com. There is a website there with a gallery. And again, I feel so blessed to be in this industry. I love what I do. I worked for a large corporation for 9 years for PepsiCo. learned a lot of skills there, but didn't love the work. And since transitioning to doing photography within real estate, it's every day I wake up just feeling so fulfilled. So this is just another one of those moments where I'm just so grateful, Beth, that you were put in my life and we connected at such a close level. And I
Yeah.
appreciate this opportunity to be able to share this with your team.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, if anybody needs personal reference of Travis, please feel free to reach out to me. I can vouch for him and his professionalism. And Travis, I just appreciate you taking the time this morning to join us here. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Travis directly. You'll see a lot of my listings on his portfolio on there. And I can also put you in contact with any of my sellers who've experienced working with Travis. They all have spoken very highly of him. Travis, I appreciate you joining us this morning, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Beth. I appreciate your time.
Okay, take care. Bye bye.
Yep, thank you.